Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my beautiful hot messes. My name is Mistress Lavender, and today I'm reading The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. I'm on page 196 on chapter 24, Beware the Aftermath. Before we begin, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and obviously turn your post notifications on. I'm so serious. You need to follow me now. But let's begin. Chapter 24, Beware the Aftermath. Danger follows in the aftermath of a successful seduction. After emotions have reached a pitch, they often swing in the opposite direction, toward lassitude, distrust, and disappointment. Beware the long, drawn-out goodbye. Insecure. The victim will cling and claw, and both sides will sever. If you are to part, make the sacrifice swift and sudden. If necessary, deliberately break the spell you have created. If you are to stay in a relationship, beware a flagging of energy, a creeping familiarity that will spoil the fantasy. If the game is to go on, a second seduction is required. Never let the other person take you for granted. Use abstinence, create pain, and conflict to keep the seduced on tenterhooks. Disenchantment. Seduction is the key of spell, is the kind of spell, and enchantment. When you seduce, you are not quite your normal self. Your presence is heightened. You are playing more than one role. You are strategically concealing your tactics or your tics and insecurities. You have deliberately created mystery and suspense to make the victim experience a real-life drama. Under your spell, the seduced gets to feel transported away from the world of work and responsibility. You will keep this going for as long as you want or can, heightening the tension, stirring the emotions until the time finally comes to complete the seduction. After that, disenchantment, also inevitability sets in. The release of tension is followed by a letdown of excitement, of energy, that can even materialize as a kind of disgust directed at you by your victim. Even though what is happening is really a normal emotional course, it is as if it's a drug wearing off, allowing the target to see you for who you are, and being disappointed by the flaws that are inevitably there. On your side, you two have probably tended to idolize your target somewhat, and once your desire is satisfied, you may see them as weak. After all, they have given in to you. You may feel disappointed. Even in the best circumstances, you are dealing now with the reality rather than the fantasy, and the flames will slowly die down, unless you start up a second seduction. You may think that if the victim is to be sacrificed, none of this matters. But sometimes your efforts to break off the relationship will inadvertently revive the spell for the other person, causing him or her to cling to you tenaciously. In either direction, sacrifice or the interrogation of the two of you into a couple, you must take disenchantment into account. There is an art to the post-seduction as well. Master the follow tactics to avoid undesired aftermaths. Fight against inertia. The sense that you are trying less hard is often enough to disenchant your victims. Reflecting back on what you did during the seduction, they will see you as manipulative. You wanted something then, and so you worked at it, but now you are taking them for granted. After the first seduction is over, then show that it isn't over, that you want to keep proving yourself, focusing your attention on them, luring them. Often the best way to keep them enchanted is to inject intermittent drama. This can be painful, opening old wounds, stirring up jealousy, withdrawing a little. On the other hand, it can also be pleasant. Think about proving yourself all over again, paying attention to nice little details, creating new temptations. In fact, you should mix the two aspects, for too much pain or pleasure will not prove seduction. You are not repeating the first seduction, for the target has already surrendered. You are simply supplying little jolts, little wake-up calls that show you have not stopped trying, and they cannot take you for granted. The little jolt will stir up the old poison, stoke the embers, bring you temporarily back to the beginning, when your involvement had a most pleasant freshness and tension. Never rely on your physical charms. Even beauty loses its appeal with repeated exposure. Only strategy and effort will fight off inertia. Maintain mystery. Girl, I'm messing up. Familiarity is the death of seduction. If the target knows everything about you, the relationship gains a level of comfort, but loses the elements of fantasy and anxiety. Without anxiety and a touch of fear, the erotic tension is dissolved. Remember, reality is not seductive. Keep some dark corners in your character. Flout expectations. Use absences to fragment the clinging, possessive pull that allows familiarity to creep in. Sensing that the spell is broken, some targets may turn to another man or woman whose unfamiliarity seems exciting and poetic. Do not play into their hands by complaining or becoming self-pitying. That would only further their natural disenchantment once the seduction is over. Instead, make them see that you are not the person you thought they were. Make it a delightful game to play new roles, to surprise them, to be an endless source of entertainment. Play up the parts of your character they find delightful, and never let them feel they know you too well. Maintain lightness. Seduction is a game, not a matter of life or death. There will be a tendency to the post phase to take things more seriously and personally, and to whine about behavior that does not please you. Fight this as much as possible, for it will create exactly the effect you do not want. You cannot control the other person by nagging and complaining. It will make them defensive, exacerbating the problem. You will have more control if you maintain the proper spirit. Your playfulness, the little rustles you employ to please and delight them, your indulgence of their faults will make your character compliant and easy to handle. Never try to change your victims. Instead, induce them to follow your lead. Avoid the slow burnout. Often one person becomes disenchanted but lacks the courage to make the break. Instead, he or she withdraws inside. As an absent, this psychological step back may inadvertently reignite the other person's desire, and a frustrating cycle begins of pursuit and retreat. Everything unravels slowly. Once you feel disenchanted and know it is over, end it quickly without apology. That would only insult the other person. A quick separation is often easier to get over. It is as if you had a problem with being faithful, as opposed to your feeling that the seduced was no longer being desirable. Once you are truly disenchanted, there is no going back, so don't hang on out of pity. Not only does the longing, lingering death of a relationship cause your partner needless pain, it will have long-term consequences for you as well, making you more skittish in the future and weighing you down with guilt. Never feel guilty. Even if you were both a seducer and the one now feels enchanted, it is not your fault. Nothing can last forever. You have created pleasure for your victims, stirring them out of the rut. If you make a clean, quick break in the long run, they will appreciate it. The more you apologize, the more you insult their pride, stirring up negative feelings that will reverberate for years. Spare them the disingenuous explanations that only complicit matters. The victim should be sacrificed, not tortured. If a break with the victim is too messy or difficult, or you lack the nerve, then do the next big thing. Deliberately break the spell that ties him or her to you. Aloofness or anger will only stir the other person's insecurity, producing a clinging horror. Instead, try suffocating them with love and attention. Be clingy and possessive yourself. Moon on the lover's every action and character trait. Create the sense that this monotonous affection will go on forever. No more mystery, no more coquetry, no more retreats, just endless love. Few can endure such a threat. A few weeks of it and they will be gone. Re-seduction. Once you have seduced a person, there is almost always a lull, a slight letdown, which sometimes leads to a separation. It is surprisingly easy, though, to re-seduce the same target. The old feelings never go away. They lie dormant, and in a flash you can take your target by surprise. It is a rare pleasure to be able to relive the past, and one's youthful, to feel the old emotions, add a dramatic flair to your re-seduction. Revive the old images, the symbols, the expressions that will stir memory. Your targets will tend to forget the ugliness of the separation and will remember only the good things. You should make this second seduction bold and quick. Give your targets no time to reflect and wonder. Play on the contrast to their current lover, making his or her behavior seem timid and stodgy by comparison. If you want to re-seduce someone, choose those who do not know you so well, whose memories of you are cleaner, who are less suspicious by nature, and who are dissatisfied with present circumstances. Also, you want to let some time pass. Time will restore your luster and make your faults fade away. Never see a separation or sacrifice as final. With a little drama and planning, a victim can be retaken in no time. Symbol: embers, the remains of the fire on the morning after. Left to themselves, the embers will slowly die out. Do not leave the fire to chance and to the elements. To put it out, douse it, suffocate it, give it nothing to feed on. To bring it back to life, fan it, stroke it until it blaze anew. Only your constant attention and vigilance will keep it burning. That's interesting. I finished it. Whoop, 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 ooh, 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 new book. It's time for a new book, new book.